All right, today is the mobile device class. We're going to be looking at the new Service Program Mobile Solution. We're going to walk through how a route technician would utilize this, creating a route ticket. Also take a look at how you can create a task on the desktop and then complete that task on the mobile device, sending back information, and then invoicing the task into QuickBooks. Now the first thing we're going to do is just create a quick task in the desktop. I'm going to do task entry. I'm going to go ahead and just pick a customer, select one of my task types. I'm just going to create a task type called service call. I'm going to assign it to one of my technicians. I'll make it due today. I'm just going to go ahead and hit close. You see I've got the task on my task list outlined in yellow, letting me know it's due today. And now I can go ahead and on the top toolbar, hit Sync Mobile Devices. And in the drop-down, I could just hit Sync Tasks for a quicker sync. Pops up and lets me know it's complete. And when I log in on the mobile device, this is what the mobile device looks like on any device, even the internet browser like you're seeing here. When the technician first logs in, he kind of sees the snapshot of today's info, where you would see tasks due today, any stops on the schedule due today, and today's invoices. You can change the date on the screen just by hitting the date drop down and select a different date if you want to see maybe stuff tomorrow. Now you can see the task we just created, T46. It's also outlined in yellow just like it is on the desktop, letting you know it's a task due today. So I can simply tap on it from this screen, or I could go to Tasks at the bottom and go to my Open Task List. From the Open Task List, I can actually create a new task by hitting New in the upper right-hand corner as well. I'll go ahead and tap on this one task. It opens up task details. From here, you can see the customer information, any of the information from the service program, who entered it, who it's assigned to, customer phone number, billing address and service address. This is real handy. You can hit map. It takes us to turn-by-turn directions right within the application. And just hit back to go back to the task. We can see the start time and end time that we picked on the task, our task type. We could put in a resolution. You do have a button here to view the customer info and history. So if I want to go to this customer and see any other information, I can just tap that button. It takes me to that customer's detail page where I could see any other open tasks for that customer that may be assigned to someone else. I can go see, I see the route section where this customer is on a route schedule. I can even put a note history to see work order history. Any equipment that this customer had. I can go to additional info, which actually shows you the additional information fields from within the customer detail on the desktop software, like gate code, subdivision, and those 20 other custom fields you have. And again, from this screen, I can just hit back, and it's going to take me right back to the task. You do have a lot of options from within inside the task. You see task type questions, which are created on the desktop. You can complete a checklist, which I'll show off here in a moment. Again, you can see equipment tied to this task or any rentals. You can add line items on this task for billing just by tapping Add Items. You can then search for an item on the list, and then just tap Add. It'll pop up and let you know item added. Then you can just hit back on the top of the screen, and you're back on task detail again. If we go down to line items, you'll see the item has been added to the task. You could tap on the item to adjust quantity, and then just hit Update. You can add 3 pictures to a task. So I could hit Choose File. Attach a photo. Now the pictures added on the desktop, it makes you choose a file. If you're on a mobile device, it prompts you to either take a picture with the camera or choose from the gallery. Once I've added a picture, I just want to hit Save. If I go back down to the Pictures area, it's going to show me that photo 1, we've actually attached it successfully. And I can hit Replace if I want to retake that photo or add a different one in its place. If I go down into the footer of the task, this is where I can grab a customer signature just by hitting Sign. And hit Submit to save. It's going to ask me, do I want to complete the task now? You can just hit OK. You can then see that we have our signature. The task is marked as complete. And it's at this stage, once the task is complete, you're able to then download it on the desktop. That's when it's basically going to come back into the software. You can hit email or print as well if you need to. So if I want to email the customer a copy of this task, I can just tap email on whatever mobile device. It's going to open up your default email platform. And what the customer is going to get is a link to view the digital task. This is what it looks like if you open it up on the computer. This is kind of what the customer is going to get. Your task can be viewed by clicking the following link. They'd be able to click that to see the task. You have an option in the software to show pictures on the tasks. So you can see here on the second page has the picture I saved with that task. Once task is marked as complete, we can just hit back to go back to our task list, and you won't see that open task anymore. Since it's actually been completed, if we needed to make a change or have access to it again, we can go to Tasks and then go to Close Tasks. We can come back into the service program now, hit our Sync Mobile Devices button, and then let's hit Sync Tasks. If I go to my task list, you're going to see the bottom task here is marked complete. I can filter on that, show me every task that's been completed. I can double-click the task number to open it up. You see my resolution came across. You now see there's also line item total, which means my line item showed up on this task. Quantity 7, just like entered on the mobile device. From the desktop, I can hit the View Signed Task button. That's actually going to open up the browser to view the mobile task. That would bring back up this copy that would be emailed to the customer. I can even go to the Images tab. I can hit View Service Call Images. And that would show me any of the images that were attached to this task. At this point, maybe I could save the image to your desktop or a folder. Then I could go back into customer detail just by clicking the customer name. I maybe could do a file link and attach that picture right to the customer, just so I have easy access to it in the future. Once the task has been completed, we can go ahead and hit Invoice. My invoice has been created and ready to go to QuickBooks. Pretty easy. Now, the one feature that's real nice with the tasks are the ability to use custom checklists. You can get to checklists by going to Task Info and then Maintain Checklists. You can create a new checklist just by typing in a checklist name. Maybe we want the technician to record the payment method along with the task. It's going to ask you to add it to the list. Just hit yes. Then we need to number the items on our checklist. So this could be item number 1 on the payment method checklist. I then need to put in the first checklist item. So I could just simply have payment method and then an answer. I could have a field for him to check off. Maybe I want to add a second item to that checklist, that if CC, we want the card number, and the expiration. So once we've created our checklist, we're going to go ahead and create our new task here. We'll assign it to one of our technicians. We're actually then going to go to the checklist tab at the top. I can then pick a checklist and hit load. That's going to actually put the checklist to this work order. Again, I'm just going to hit close to save my task. Then I'm going to go ahead and sync mobile devices and hit sync tasks. So when I open up the task on the mobile device, I'm going to go right down and put in my resolution. I'm going to go to the checklist tab, and I can see the checklist just like it was on the desktop. So maybe could put in that this is a credit card. The guy could fill out the card number. then hit Save to save the checklist answers. I'm just going to go down to my footer, mark this as complete, can hit my back button, and I'm going to go ahead and sync that into the desktop. I can open up the completed task. If I go to the checklist tab, you can see that it was filled out just like you did on the mobile device. It was checked off as credit, has the card number and the expiration. So you can really create a detailed checklist for the guys to fill out in the field, and you'd have all that information visible back in the desktop software. Now, the other way that you can utilize the mobile device is for your route scheduled service. So if I'm a technician, I can go to Routes at the bottom, and I can go to Schedule. Here I can see the route schedule. So these would be the stops, the different customers. I can then tap on Actions, and I would want to go to Stop Details. Here I would see all the information for this route stop. I would see any of the route notes, full service. I then have the billing and service address where I can do that same mapping and get turn-by-turn directions right to the customer. I can view any open tasks that currently exist for one of these scheduled stops, or I could create a new task. Same with invoices. But what you'll mainly be taking advantage of with the route schedule is doing a route ticket for every stop on the schedule. So I could hit Create Ticket. It pre-fills it with the customer information. I then could hit the timestamp button to set the arrival time. You could put in some comments. Then you have three groupings of custom fields, which I'll show off here in a moment on the desktop software first and show you how to set them up. But it works just like a task from then on out. You'd have line items. You can add 3 pictures. Your footer is the same, allows you to add a signature, email or print it, mark it as complete. And the one thing you do have to do, I got a little message here, I have to set my departure time prior to being able to complete a ticket. So I have to put in an arrival and departure time. Then I could complete the ticket. When a route ticket's completed, it doesn't show up here. I can go back to the route schedule, and if you notice, it's highlighted in blue. This now lets me know that that stop is complete. So once you've done a route ticket for a stop, it marks it as complete on the schedule, so the driver knows what he has to move on to next. He can even hit Hide Completed, and it's going to, it would hide completed stops for today. I apologize, I didn't realize that this schedule was dated the 12th. And if you want to get the route ticket back, you can go to Routes and then Tickets. You would have a record of that ticket. You could open it back up, see any information, make a change if you needed to. Now on the desktop, I'm going to go ahead and hit Sync and do Route Tickets. Route tickets show up under Route Info and then Route Ticket List. So here you would see the route ticket that I just completed for 11:22. Need to fix pump on next visit. All the information is filled in here. And this is where you can see the three groupings. You have up to 60 custom fields, or actually I believe it's 54 custom fields that you can set, 5 text fields, 30 number fields, 5 drop-down fields, 11 checkbox fields, and 3 date fields. And they're split up into 3 different groupings. So if you're a pool company, the biggest thing you want to do is be setting up these fields for your different chemical readings or added readings. You could set up the checkbox fields to, did he clean this, did he replace the filter, did he check the filter. Set up your custom fields on any route ticket, you can just hit Edit Field Names at the top. So here I have all the custom fields. I can put any label in. And the one important thing to note is if I take a field name away, if I take the label away, it actually hides the field. So you can get rid of the labels that you don't need. If I were to close and reopen the route ticket, those fields are hidden now. Now, the one nice thing is all those custom fields are able to store history in them. If we go into the route ticket, and I'm going to just create another ticket here. This is Bill's app. All right, so if I'm in my route ticket, I go to Group 1, here would be an example of all the chemical readings, something you could do. And if you've noticed, there's an I next to each field. This shows the history of that field. So if I tap the history, it's going to show me the last 4 stops and the reading from each one of those stops, 0. And then here would be the different field. You can put all the readings in, examples of the drop-downs. To set up the drop-down field, the little footprint inside the route ticket on the desktop, if we go to Group 2, you'll see your drop-down 1 through 5. Well, we'll actually need to double-click inside the drop-down. And then here's where you could set up the different options. So if I have drop-down field 3, I could then put in the first option. I could then do drop-down field 3 again, option 2, whatever your different options are. And make sure you number the different options for each drop-down, 1, 2, 3, however many you have. Now, some of the other information on the mobile device. If you go to Miscellaneous Info, System, and User Maintenance, this is where you're going to set up the logins for the mobile devices. A quick note about the security level. For the mobile devices, you should only have the technicians use security level 1 or security level 2. 1 would be administrative access. They would see everything. They would see all tasks for all users. They would see all routes. If they're level 2, they only see the work that's assigned to them. It's also important on this list to set your time zone, which is down here in the middle. This is specifically for the mobile devices, and it helps adjust for some of the automatic time stamping and for some of the reporting that comes back into the software. You also have on the far right, you have a employee color and label. So this allows you to basically pick a color and set a 2-character label for each employee, and this affects the employee locator. If you tap employee locator at the top toolbar, it brings up a live map that it's going to track where your guys are at any given time. It's based off status updates. So you can see here on 11/22, Route 1 checked in. We did a route ticket together. Here's his location. I could also, for historically, I could pick an employee from the drop-down, then I could pick a date, hit update. And this is following the settings I have in the software. If you see here, I think I have it set HC set to blue, and it's showing me the second location. Actually, these locations are stacked on top of each other. There's location 1 and location 2 right on top of each other. But it would number out the different check-ins for one of the technicians. One of the cool things you can do is grab the little orange person here on the left, drag them down to get to the Google Street View. So you can see kind of physically where, actually right there is where he last GPS location was, and you can get a actual street address of where he checked in. If it's not near the customer, obviously he's not where he's supposed to be. To get out of the street view and back to the map, you can hit the X in the top right. I can hit reset again to bring back the default view. The default view is to show all your employees on one map, their most recent check-in. Does anyone have any questions on anything in the mobile device? Great. Well, there is some a little bit more in-depth videos if you are looking for some more information. If you go to Miscellaneous Info and view training videos, we've got 2 full hour-long training classes on mobile devices. One talks a little bit more in depth about setting up the field names for the route ticket, so there's some great info there. Part 2 is kind of what we started with today, going in through the task process, showing off the checklist and how to attach equipment to a task. If you have any questions, please feel free to come to the 2 o'clock Eastern Time class, the Q&A. Otherwise, I hope everyone has a great weekend.